develops, but I still don't feel confident about the weapons that they have offensively as much as some of the other people do. So in that division and their schedule overall, I just still feel like they're not going to make over 7 wins.
No, and I even heard people that have talked about that they still have a chance to win this division and that they could be the sleeper team. And look, I know they have a really good offensive line. Their defense made strides, but you're still without now Andrew Luck, who really made that thing go and has made this team go when he's in there. And when they've had backups, it's not been pretty on this team. I'm going under, and I have them more in the area of 6-10. I actually upgraded the Texans with 2 more wins to win that division. I gave one of the NFC teams, we'll talk about, an extra win that jumped them up. And then I actually gave Denver an extra win to push at 7 now, because I just think there's games that Brissett is just not going to be able to win. There's games that he will be, but I think when he faces really good defenses or offenses that can just get in shootouts, I don't think he's going to be able to keep pace. I think in those ugly lower to mid-level scoring games, they'll probably be okay, which is why I think they'll be in that range of 6 or maybe 7. It's still going to be under 7.5 that I have them. But I think it's a huge downgrade to this team. I think it completely takes them out of the mix. I'll be shocked if they make the playoffs. Thinking they're going to win this division with Houston there and improve Jacksonville team, I still just don't see that happening. So I've downgraded the Colts. I've got them going under now. And I had high expectations for them, but when you lose a guy like Andrew Luck, Eric, I just can't stay there. I feel like we've watched enough football to know how much difference superstar quarterbacks make, because in prime time, when those guys are out, those games are awful to watch. So that's a wrap for segment 1. When we come back, we'll do the NFC previews. Same way as last week that we did the AFC. We'll take a look at the odds on the over-under. We'll pick every team in the NFC, and then we'll jump into overtime, talk a little DeMarcus Cousins. All right, we're back. Let's jump right into this NFC preview. If you listened to the show last week and you like the format, hopefully you'll like this week as well, because we're going to do it the exact same way. We'll take a look at the number that Vegas has set for the over-under win total for every team in the NFC, and then we'll pick them. So let's start with the NFC East, and we'll take it down to the bottom. And no surprise here, Eric, it's the New York Giants. Vegas has their number set at 6. So what do you like with the Giants this year, over or under 6 wins?
Well, very simply, what do I like with the Giants? It's Saquon Barkley and a little bit of Evan Ingram. Other than that, there's not a whole lot I do like. So I'm
you don't like Daniel Jones? You're not polishing off his Canton bust yet?
No, not at all. I mean, I need to see more from Daniel Jones. Who knows? Maybe he's the next coming of Eli Manning in the Giants uniform. Who knows? But I haven't seen enough to know. And honestly, don't care, because this team is not going to battle anybody in this division, even the Washington Redskins. I am taking the under on 6.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I got to go under as well. Look, they have some winnable games on the schedule, but if you like Dallas and you like the Eagles and you like the Skins defense, it's going to be hard for them to win too many games there. Then the common opponent for the NFC East is the AFC East and the NFC North. So yeah, the AFC East, you do get the Dolphins, you do get the Bills. You like the Jets more than I do. NFC North's a lot tougher. So I just don't see the wins. And I think everybody obviously is, look, again, we talk about inconsistencies with the media. When teams are down, it's just the preseason. It's all vanilla. Nobody's really doing anything. And then a guy like Daniel Jones comes out and lights it up. It's like, oh my God, he's the greatest. Someone go get his measurements for his gold jacket. It's going to happen. He needs to start right now. It's just so ridiculous how everyone just overreacts. Like, okay, yeah, if Eli comes out of the gate and he struggles, once you get Golden Tate back and up to speed, you give the guy a full complement of weapons, turn him loose and see what he's got. But don't judge him off the preseason, because we continue to make arguments the opposite way that works for people. It just doesn't work for me. I don't like the entire football team. It's not just the quarterback position. Love Saquon, but from the defensive side and even the offensive line, there's some issues on this team. So I'm going under on the Giants as well. Next up, Washington Redskins. Vegas has their number set at 6.5, and they are starting Case Keenum. So I think I know where you're going here, Eric, but let me know if I'm right or wrong. You're going over or under on the Skins.
This one's actually tough for me, because I do believe that the Washington Redskins defense is going to play a lot of teams tough. And because of that same thing you just said, where I think the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets are going to give the Giants that we just covered a little bit of a tough time. I think it's going to be a bit more of a coin flip with the Redskins because there's going to be some defensive battles there. I mean, imagine the Bills defense and the Redskins defense. I think that's going to be a tough game. And then you've got Josh Allen against Case Keenum. It's kind of a coin flip for me. So however those games turn out, those close ones are going to be the difference for me as to whether the Redskins can make their over on 6.5, because I do think they're still underpowered when they come to the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys within their own division, and then some of those extra divisional games. So I do think the number is tough here for the Redskins. I'm going to call them at 6. So I'm going to take the under, but I will say if they make 7, it's not going to shock me. I don't see them getting to 8 or higher. I'll be safe here. I'll take the 6. I'll take the under.
I'm going under on Washington. I love their defense, what they're doing up front. I think they've got a really good front seven on this team, but offensively, it's hard to find anyone that you really like. Watching Case Keenum play last year, yeah, if everything works perfect for him, he's a good quarterback, but he's not going to be able to go out on his own and win a lot of games. And their weapons, there's already rumor that they're trying to trade Josh Jackson, and he was probably going to be their wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
And then you start going down to like Trey Quinn's beat up. You're depending on Paul Richardson Jr. He didn't have much of a year last year. Adrian Peterson's like 65 years old. Geis is coming off of a knee injury, and Chris Thompson is a third down back that you can't put.
Also coming off an injury.
Yeah, and he had a bad injury not that long ago. So I just don't like anything on the offensive side. Again, I brought up the point last week talking about the Chiefs. Early in the season in the NFL, it's just offensive fireworks. Teams that don't have the offensive capabilities normally struggle when they can't just go in and put up 30-plus points and get into those battles. Washington's defense is going to have to keep them into every game and make everything ugly, and I just don't think the offense can do enough for them. So I'm going under with Washington. All right, Nick, let's move it to Dallas with the Cowboys. Over-under on Dallas is set at 9 this year. They have obviously the contract issues with all their superstars outside of the one guy that we didn't hear about, and he's the guy that got paid at the linebacker position. So Dallas over-under 9. What do you like with the Cowboys?
This one is really, really tough for me. Again, I'm going to take the push at 9. I feel that Dallas has potential. I really do. And as an Eagles fan, Dallas is the team that scares me the most, obviously being interdivisional, but because you're going to have those 2 matchups throughout the year, and you're also going to have a Dallas team that I think is capable of beating a lot of the opponents outside of these division races as well. But with Dallas, as we've talked about, there's so much strife right now with Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott that you absolutely have to get those things resolved, and you have to get them resolved early. Then you have to keep guys like Amari Cooper healthy, Randall Cobb healthy. Then you have Jason Witten, who is one of the greatest tight ends of all time, but he just retired and unretired. So this is an offense that I think on paper looks really good, but if they're not firing on all cylinders, it could go haywire and they won't even reach the 9. So I got to push.
Actually, I'm going over with Dallas and actually have them winning the division.
Oh my gosh.
In the area of 11-5. I just like what they did last year. And I think what I've seen from Gallup in the preseason, he's taken a big step forward. And I think that's going to take a lot off the plate of Cooper. And I do think even if Zeke, I think they're going to get him back he's going to miss the first 10 weeks. Then he'll be back so he can accrue his season if they don't get a deal done.
Wait a minute. He's going to miss the first 10 weeks and you're giving them the division?
Yeah, because I think that, again, it's a good offensive line. It's actually a great offensive line. And I think they're going to be able to get production from other backs. And when they get him back, he's going to be fresh for the stretch run. So that's really why I like this team. I think what I saw them do last year on this team, and now they've got, look, Witten couldn't beat my grandmother in a foot race, but somehow he gets open. And that's what Dak needs. They got not a lot of production out of the tight end spot last year. They had just had guys in and out of the lineup. Now they have somebody that can find his way to get open and get them catches. He'll probably have under 50 yards yak for the entire year, but he just finds a way to get open. So you have that option on third down. You have him in the red zone. He's just a veteran presence on that team. I just like what they're trying to do. So let's talk about the Eagles. Vegas has their number set at 10. So Vegas obviously likes them more than I do here. So what do you like with Philly? Over, under, or are you going to push here at 10?
I feel another bet for a Tervis tumbler coming on here because Or maybe we go bobbleheads. Maybe we go Carson Wentz bobblehead, and I don't know. Does anyone on Denver have a bobblehead? Von Miller or someone like that? I don't know.
Probably Von or Bradley Chubb. That's about it.
Okay, so yeah, we'll figure something out, but we're gonna have to do something because I am taking the over on 10 with Philly. I'm gonna go. I won't give you a number. How about that? I'll just go over. There's just no way that I mean, if everyone's healthy and all things are equal, Philly wins this division by 2 games. I like what they have here. It sucks that Deshaun Jackson already broke a finger in this preseason. But they say he's going to play week 1 and it shouldn't be a big deal. But there's a lot of weapons here, a lot of weapons. And I got to take the over, not only just from the heart, but my mind says they win this division by 2 games.
I'm not saying I dislike the Eagles. I actually have them pushing. I have them at 10-6. So I like the Eagles a lot, but there are question marks on this team for me. This team got a lot of hype last year after what they did the year prior. Wentz has still not been able to show that he can stay healthy. That's a big concern for me, especially when you start, again, just the hits that he takes. Is he going to revert back to the guy that's going to be taking a lot of hits on this team? Deshaun Jackson has had trouble staying healthy, especially the last few years when he was in Tampa. Felt like he was on and off the field a lot. Alshon Jeffrey is getting up there. I like what they got in Sanders. I think he's going to be their primary running back not too long into the season. So there's a lot to like about this team. I just happen to like Dallas just a little more in this division, but I still think the Eagles are going to have a really good year, and I have them as a wild card team. So I still like them, just not as much as you do. All right, Nick, let's move to the NFC North. Their common opponent is going to be the AFC West, the NFC East. So let's start at the bottom with the Detroit Lions. Team we talked about a little earlier there in segment 1 that seems to run all their stars out of town. I don't even think they have any stars left at this point, and I don't think Vegas thinks they do either. They have their number set at 6.5. So what do you like with Detroit? Or do you like anything with Detroit?
Yeah, not a chance. Sorry, Detroit. It's going to be another tough season. I'm sorry. They just don't have it. And at 6.5, I think it's what you said, 6.5.
6.5.
6. Yeah, no, not a chance. I got to take the under. There's not even a point in naming players off this team. I know of Marvin Jones. I know of Danny Amendola, and obviously we know of Matthew Stafford, but you get beyond that. I like what they could do at running back. I mean, Kerryon Johnson, if he stays healthy, is promising. And then, of course, CJ Anderson seemed to look better than Todd Gurley last year in the playoffs, but I don't know really where this team ranks. And the problem for me is much the same as we talked about with, let's say, the Giants. It's the divisional rivals that you have and the fact that you've got to play 2 divisions that most of the teams in those divisions are better than you are. So I don't see where you're getting 6.5 wins.
No, I'm right there with you. I went under on this team, and really, I've liked some of the moves they've made with their roster. But number one, you have a head coach that's a Bill Belichick disciple. That's not ever worked out for any team. I don't think at this point that it's ever happened. And the one that's in Miami is about to be part of a revolt, according to reports. So that's the first thing that I don't like. And then, like you said, this is a very good division that they're in. All the teams have a over-under win-loss total that's above 500. So that's never a good sign if you're a team that's well below that. 2.5 games below the next closest team in terms of what people think of you. And then you start to add in, you've got a game with the Chiefs and the Chargers, and then you're going to turn around and play a Dallas, and you're going to play an Eagles. And again, we talked about the team like the Redskins, whose defense could have some success versus Detroit. It's just hard to find the wins there. So I went under on this team. So let's go to Green Bay. Over under is 9 for the Packers. Coming off a season where they missed the playoffs, flipped up the head coach. Aaron Rodgers seems to be in the news for all the wrong reasons all the time. I don't know, Eric. He's like the quarterback version of AB at this point. He seems to just carry the drama around with him. So Green Bay this year, over under 9. What do you like with the Packers?
You know, what's funny is that Aaron Rodgers would be more of the quarterback that wouldn't shock me if he said tomorrow, you know what, I'm hanging up the cleats, I'm done.
He's going to go do yoga with Danica.
Exactly. You go home to Danica Patrick. You stop taking hits from behind that weak, Green Bay offensive line. Just call it a career. But no, honestly, there's a couple of teams in this division. We'll talk about one right here, and we'll talk about one in a minute in Minnesota, where I feel like it's time to piss or get off the pot. And what I mean by that is Aaron Rodgers is too good of a quarterback to have a career mired in mediocrity like he has. he just hasn't taken this team deep into the playoffs and